Alright, second time around because this shit decided not to record the first time. Hi, well, it's been a while since I've touched up on any ZBrush tutorials, but right now I'm going to toss out a real quick one dealing with ZBrush Spotlight. Something that's pretty handy and you might get a lot of use out of depending on what you want to do in the program. But enough about that, let's just get the ball rolling, shall we? Alright, now that we're all up and ready to go, let's see. So basically, just to show you how this works, I'm just going to grab a real simple object like this cube, sure, and hit edit because remember, it's a trap. And basically the way that texturing works in ZBrush is kind of stupid. Anything that you put on an object inside ZBrush is dependent on the resolution of that object in terms of geometry. Now this object, if we look at the Shift F or polyframe, you can see right here there's not a lot going on. This doesn't have a whole lot of polygons by ZBrush standards. So basically, if you were to try to paint a texture onto the surface of this, it would be really blurry, it'd be really gross. Just to keep that in mind moving forward, whenever you try to paint something onto an object inside ZBrush, that's just something to think about before you even get started. So to get this ball rolling, I'm going to take this cube and I'm going to make it a polymesh 3D, turn off polyframe, and I'm going to subdivide this guy like 5 times. And let's see, 6 times. Why not? And what I'm going to show you today is ZBrush Spotlight. Now, to access Spotlight, because I'm going to move over to my favorite interface, this one right here. All right, so we can go to Texture at the very top of the frame here, and inside Texture, you can see this is Spotlight. Load Spotlight, Lightbox Spotlight, blah, 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 blah. The one that I'm going to focus on right now is going to be this big gray one right here that says texture. So inside here, you can load up anything. You can import any one that you want. These are the ones that come standard inside ZBrush, which are totally fine. I'm going to grab this very first one right here. And after I grab it, if you come right to here where it says add to Spotlight, you just click that guy and then Spotlight loads up. It also opens up Lightbox just to be annoying, but whatever. And the first thing you're going to notice is this is kind of weird. Like this little wheel is kind of following you around. Wherever you click, it kind of changes where it goes. And, you know, this is just a little bit different from anything you've seen in ZBrush yet, but this is actually pretty neat, truthfully. Inside this wheel are all the options you're ever going to need. So right here we have rotate, which allows you to rotate the image however you see fit, which is pretty neat. And next to that we have scale, which you can scale this guy up and down. Also pretty cool, handy. And all of these truthfully do something really interesting. Right here you have hue, where you can kind of grab it and then kind of rotate the wheel around and change the hue of the image just for like on the fly variation, which is really nice. The one that I'm going to show you, I mean, they all do something pretty neat. Scale, smudge, desaturation, all kinds of stuff. And I encourage you to play around. It'd take me forever to go through all of them. But the one that I'm going to focus on is Spotlight Radius. Now, already you can see when I click it and just rotate the wheel, you can see this like hazy image popping up in the background, which is really good. Because the next step is painting this guy on. And the first thing you're going to want to do is hit the letter Z on your keyboard. And that's going to make the image go away. And what you see now is I can actually look through the texture like a spotlight. Now, if I switched back to my favorite layout here, you can see that RGB and Z add right here are on. So if I just start painting this, you're going to see the geometry sort of pop out from the image, which is pretty cool, but not what I'm trying to show you. So if you just turn the RGB on and increase the radius of your brush, you can paint this entire texture down super fast, like that. Bam. And what I mentioned before still rings true. Right now, you can see that this texture doesn't really look good. It's really choppy and everything in the background and just isn't really like a high enough resolution to make me happy. So what we can do here is I can go to geometry and I can divide this guy again, and it's getting pretty high now, but if I paint this guy back through again, it looks great. Like now now it's reading with enough geometry to make this image nice and sharp and look really good, and everything is really, really great. Shift Z will turn Spotlight off. Shift Z will turn it back on. Z will bring up the wheel. So remember, Shift Z off, Shift Z on, Z brings up the wheel. Kind of complicated, but you'll get the hang of it pretty soon, especially if you're doing this like all at once. So I'm going to turn this guy off. We can rotate our image around, do all kinds of stuff, and say, just as an example, this wasn't a building, this was like tree bark or concrete or something with just a little bit of definition, variation that you're kind of looking for. And you would want to pop some of it out with the geometry. Now, I mean, most people would just grab a brush and go, you know, that's not the way. There's a much, much easier way. And I'm going to switch my matte cat over to chalk so you can kind of see this image a little bit better. Actually, I'm going to switch it to wax. Let's stick with wax, actually, for this part, because this is pretty cool. So if you go to masking and come on down, you can see right here, mask by color. And it's going to read the color in this texture and make a mask for it. So if you go mask by intensity, then it created a mask. And if I bring my paint here, because it's masked by the intensity of the image, I can paint this up. Pretty cool, right? Well, mostly, because this is like really uneven, and it looks kind of weird, but say I want it to be like perfectly uniform. So in order to get it perfectly uniform, what you can do is come over here to Deformation, and down at the bottom you'll see Inflate, the option you thought you'd never use. And you can scale this guy out or punch it in, either way, just like that, and give you some natural automatic detail that goes right with whatever image is on there. So say you have something like tree bark or anything like that, this is perfect for stuff like that. Or even slight variations in like skin. Say if you really went crazy like detailing skin and you had moles and pores and stuff, really high resolution imagery, which of course, remember, it's all dependent on the amount of geometry you have, the resolution of the textures you're using, because already at this point you can see when I zoom in, you can see like, you know, like the resolution in this texture. Noisy images will like be hell. You're going to want it to be really clean, really perfect, you know, not something you shot on your iPhone loading into here. You want nothing but the best. And when you turn your mask off and then come to here, you can see that this guy is like really good looking. So that's just a quick little tip in order to automatically add detail to something. You know, you can kind of take it from here. This is just a quick little spotlight overview. I'm not going to dwell on this too much. I'm going to move right on to the next big thing, which is going to be Go Z. Ooh, Go Z. Nice. So stick around for that. Anyway, that'll be it for today. This is a little quick one, and I hope that helps out someone, anyone. But if not, then the next one definitely will. Later.